Welcome to the Lippis Report.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Lippis Report podcast. I'm Nick Lippis, your host for today's discussion with Sujal Das, who is the Director of Product Marketing at Broadcom. Well, in this podcast, we're talking about gaining visibility to Web 2.0 applications that are flowing over enterprise networks via Ethernet switches that support Broadcom's App IQ innovation. Well, let me give you a brief intro to the topic before I bring Sujal into the general discussion. Well, every corporation's application portfolio is undergoing a massive transition thanks to mobile and cloud computing plus Web 2.0 applications such as social, peer-to-peer, and browser-based file sharing. With mobile applications being downloaded on smartphones and tablets plus increased use of cloud computing, sourcing corporate applications have fundamentally shifted away from corporate IT to third-party providers, leaving IT departments without knowledge and visibility of the applications flowing over their network infrastructure. In addition, these new methods of IT delivery have fundamentally changed traffic patterns too, from once tame north to south flows to now a mix of east-west and north-south, almost Brownian motion type flows. Clearly, there are economic and corporate productivity gains in mobile and cloud computing, but not knowing what applications are flowing over an enterprise network can impact enterprise productivity. In short, you can't manage what you can't measure, and Broadcom's App IQ technology, which is available as an integrated feature in its latest generation of Enterprise LAN Ethernet switch solutions, promises to provide the enhanced technology for Web 2.0 traffic visibility and control. Together with integrated wireless LAN capabilities, these switch solutions form the cornerstone of leading switch OEM products as they deliver on the promise of mobility and visibility required in current and next generation networks. Well, in this Lippis Report podcast, I talked with Sujal Das over at Broadcom about its App IQ technology and the visibility it provides to IT business leaders to understand what applications are flowing over their networks. Well, with that said, say hello, Sujal, and welcome to the Lippis Report podcast.
Hello, Nick, and glad to be here and glad to be talking about App IQ to you today.
Excellent, great. Well, I'm really excited about this as well because this is one of the fundamental management issues that a lot of enterprises are having difficulty with. So first, before we start talking about App IQ, let's just talk about the existing tools that are available to gain application visibility. So there are a couple of them. There's traffic classification, there's deep packet inspection, and there's also stateful packet inspection. So what do you think about those tools?
Sure. So traffic classification, Nick, this is common in both data centers and the enterprise campus networks. Traditionally, traffic classification has been done using, for example, layer 2, layer 3 headers. Then it has evolved into classifying using the layer 4 headers, for example, looking at the TCP port number 80 to identify if it's an HTTP application. This is kind of going a little more sophisticated into the what is called a deep packet inspection area, where you look deeper and deeper into the packet. So these technologies have been available and are used and deployed today. What is new is the other two categories I'm going to talk about today. One is called stateful packet inspection. This is again available today in very high-end appliances. What this means is that to be able to identify an application, you need to go through multiple iterations. So the device that actually does the classification needs to maintain some state. And the last category, which is probably the most new in the industry, is actually identifying applications based on application signatures. So these two categories of what I call stateful packet inspection and signature matching based traffic classification, these are becoming increasingly important in the enterprise campus networks, for example, with the increased use of what I call Web 2.0 applications. Applications such as social networking, peer-to-peer file sharing, browser-based file sharing. These applications are being increasingly allowed in the enterprise market today, in the enterprise campus. There are some industry reports recently saying that just in the last year, there is a 3x increase in the usage of such applications. So to be able to identify these applications, stateful packet inspection and signature matching has become increasingly important.
Okay, excellent, great. So I think also is that maybe I would assume that maybe the number of the file sharing is actually much higher, but clearly we'd agree that the uptake is huge there. But let's now focus a little bit on AppIQ. So one, how does it work? And then also, like, where do you place it in the network, and how do you do policy, and how do you do enforcement once you kind of identify maybe signatures or policy, and or how that policy gets impacted and enforced within the overall network?
Sure. So AppIQ is a Broadcom innovation. What Broadcom's doing is enabling stateful packet inspection and signature-based application recognition on in switch chips that it produces for the enterprise campus market, for example. It uses and actually complements an already established technology called content-aware engine that Broadcoms have been shipping for a long time. And what AppIQ does is it complements content-aware, which is for the traditional traffic classification methods that I described earlier, and adds the statefulness and the signature matching abilities. And by doing so, it enables identification of these Web 2.0 applications right at the edge of the campus network, where actually these applications originate in the first place. So it is really important to be able to regulate these applications in the right way to help enterprise productivity. And being able to do so right at the edge is important, so you don't allow these traffic to enter the network in the first place.
Okay, great. So, the bottom line is there's signature, there's state information, and then you can decide as an IT department whether you want to allow it or deny it into the network, almost like a highly distributed firewall. Correct?
Exactly, very distributed, and yes, instead of doing things in the core of the network, since this is done at wire speed, you can actually deploy it at the edge of the network and deploy it more cost effectively.
All right, great, excellent. So let's shift attention a little bit. So which Broadcom products are going to be equipped with AppIQ? So basically, how will also switch manufacturers take advantage of its features to offer IT leaders with this increased network visibility we've been talking about? So I guess really the bottom line is that how will this manifest itself in enterprise networks?
AppIQ will be available in the Broadcom Strata XGS BCM 56545 series of switches, which we'll be announcing in about a week. These switch devices are designed for the enterprise campus and branch office networks. These switch chips can be deployed in the edge of the network or even the aggregation layer of the network. And we expect OEMs to provide switches with this capability starting in 2013. This chip is actually being evaluated, and there are some OEMs who have actually started developing this technology. And we expect these technology to become available to IT managers in 2013 and help them classify Web 2.0 traffic and in the process enhance productivity of the enterprise.
Very good. So when you're saying OEMs, we're talking about like all of the major switch manufacturers that will build switching products, Ethernet switching products based upon this latest chip from Broadcom, correct?
Yeah, we expect most of our OEM partners to adopt this technology. Since this is brand new, we're just announcing it. We have a select few starting to evaluate and develop this technology at this time.
Okay, great, excellent. So, all right, so we're talking about 2015. So, how do IT business leaders take advantage of AppIQ at that time frame? And also, do you have an estimate of like how pervasive it may be and how it may scale within an enterprise network? We're really talking about almost like surrounding the entire enterprise network, and then also within it with kind of AppIQ. So really being able to kind of look at the visibility on an end-to-end basis, assuming that those switches are using synthesis.
Sure. So first of all, it's not 2015, it's 2013. So you're talking about next year. Okay, so it's much nearer. And as I said, there is increasing pressure on the enterprise IT manager to not only allow these applications in the enterprise, because some of these applications actually boost productivity, but then there are others that actually hinder productivity. So it's important for IT managers to have this capability right now, and so it is important. It is a pain point that's starting to happen right now. Now, what Broadcom brings to the table is enable the mainstream deployment of this technology. So far, this technology has been available as specialized appliances. Sometimes it's done in software, done more at the core or the WAN side of the network. To match with the WAN speed, because when you do it in software, you cannot be wire speed. So these what has been specialized, Broadcom is bringing mainstream, enable more ubiquitous deployment of this technology at the edge of the network, as we discussed, make it more scalable, make it more cost effective, and we envision that this will proliferate to become another form of classification technology that is just an increment to what has been deployed in the past. For example, the traditional classification technology that is deployed everywhere today, this also becomes mainstream and ubiquitous in the same way.
Yeah, very good, excellent. So, and also thank you for that clarification. 2013, so we're talking about 7 months ago away or so. So great, thank you for that. All right, well, we've been talking about Broadcom's App IQ innovation, a new model for application visibility, with Sujal Das, who's the product line director at Broadcom. Sujal, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.
Great, and thank you for watching.
That concludes this edition of the Lippis Report. Thank you for joining us. Look for us every Tuesday and Thursday. To get your free subscription to the Lippis Report newsletter, go to www.lippis.com. To sponsor the Lippis Report podcast, send email to sales@lippis.com. We've got to go, and so do you. See you next time.